All right, everybody. Today is draft day for the Draft Club on Spike Week. Not only is it draft day, but today is a massive day. We have released all of the Spike Week tools currently over at spikeweek.com. So if you're looking for a best ball product that is unlike any other, that will track your team, give you how many what your stack percentage is per game in week 17, that is what we are bringing to you at Spike Week. And we'll talk a little bit more about this, but before that, let's get into the intro. Hey there, Omar. Omar says it's his first ever live stream. Let's get it. Let's get it indeed. We are in the precipice of a gigantic day for Spike Week. We are releasing the tools. Eric Beimfor, unfortunately, cannot be here for the draft show tonight because he is dealing with all of the things that come along with launching a massive product like this to all of you, honestly. And we'd like to thank all of you for consuming all the content, jumping in the Discord over the last few months, however long it's been. This has been a year in the making. This is something that Eric has really been putting most of his time into to get products like this out. And I'm going to be honest, the price point on this is bananas. Like, the fact that we are only charging $25 for this is like crazy. You're getting a tracker, you're getting all these tools that I don't even think some people that are outside of best ball would have thought. Like, if you didn't have people like Eric Beimfor within the community grinding this, because he's a grinder like us, right? He grinds best ball tournaments. So him grinding, he knows what we need in order to be successful. And I think he's put together a lot of those tools. And I just wanted to give a big kudos to him. I like to bust Eric balls quite a bit, but he has been working behind the scenes tirelessly to get this stuff out. Jake says, cheers. What's going on, Jake? And let me bring in our buddy Silas.
What's up, man?
Not much, just talking about this crazy big day that we have at Spike Week and how exciting it is.
Yeah, it's awesome. I like probably everybody else have probably been fangirling the drop, like just waiting. I keep checking the Discord to see, when Eric's going to make it live. And told you before this, I played golf, but came back, saw that it dropped, and I was like, oh my God, let's go.
Right. Yeah, it's so awesome. So if you're not sure about getting the product, what I would say is, first of all, jump in the Discord if you're not already in there. See how much knowledge that Eric and everybody that's worked towards this brings into it, and just give it a shot. We're not going to sit here and plug this all day, every day on every show, but today's a little bit special where it's the drop day for this, so we'll reference it here and there. But today, for about 5 minutes before we get into the draft, because I'm going to be honest, the Celtics are playing tonight, and we need to sweat our home team, the Boston Celtics.
Yes, sir.
And watch them beat Golden State tonight. So
I need them to win because I need to fund my best ball teams. I have an extraordinary amount of money on them, so it would be nice if I wouldn't have to pay.
Well, that would be quite sweet. So before that, I just wanted to hit on a couple guys that are going to possibly be playoff or tournament winners this year. And I had our team put Travis Kelce on the cover thumbnail for this for a reason, because I was pretty out on not out. I don't want to say I was out on Travis Kelce, like in February, March, but I was down on the Chiefs as a whole. And I am reinvigorated with the Chiefs. I don't know about you. I think this Tyreek Hill trade, losing Tyreek Hill is never a great thing for a team, right? Like, what he brings to the table.
Of course.
But what that's going to do to Travis Kelce, because he's not surrounded by complete bums. I think he has a good cast around him. And I think it's just going to elevate him to this level if he's still able to do it. And I'm going to be honest. I think for his position at his age, he should be fine, to be perfectly honest. So you're able to get him towards the back end of the first round. And something I found interesting, I think I was talking to Eric about this, and we brought up, like, which guy can you draft early from the tail end of the first round to make a unique build, sort of like he did with Overzet with Devontae Adams last year.
Yep.
And I was talking about Stephon Diggs, which I still think is viable. And I think he mentioned Travis Kelce. And I don't know why I didn't think about it at the time. I was like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. It's the same idea. You're able to get him early. He's a guy that we actually like in the first round, and you can just build a completely different team than everybody else that has a Travis Kelce team.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of think about the tight end landscape, right? Like, Mark Andrews is a totally different player with Lamar Jackson than what we saw, and we're kind of drafting him at his ceiling with what he showed with Tyler Huntley. Then you add in the tight end 3 with Pitts, and we're just hoping he moves into that upper echelon. Like, he wasn't great last year, and then Kittle, he has his own injury issues, and then Waller has Devontae Adams in town. Like, Kelsey's the only one that should be drafted as high as he is, and he might even be a steal at 12. Like, he could, like, he's definitely top 3 in tight end premium, but like, he might be top 5. He might be used like a full-on wide receiver.
Right. Is there any other guys that jump out to you that could be potential tournament winners here?
Yeah, so to start, I mean, there's definitely suspension concerns, but Kamara, Cook, you're getting them at a significant discount. So, with that, they could potentially be, tournament winners far past ADP. And then, T. Higgins jumps out at me. What happens if Jamar Chase goes down and T. Higgins truly provides that wide receiver 1 season? Like, you're getting him at that 2-3 turn. He might be, could produce the top 3 season that we're expecting Chase will.
I honestly see it. I can't have that happen, because then I will be poor. So, because I think everyone already knows that I am taking a big stance on Jamar Chase as of the moment. Yep. So if that happens, I am going to be poor and asking him to come live at Silas's house at the end of best ball season. I also like that I can wear these sunglasses on the stream now, and there's no reaction from anybody. This is just what happens now. So
it did cross my mind, but at the same time, I was just like, whatever.
Yeah, it's just what I do.
I did want to bring up other potential, tournament winners. Trey Lance, you're getting him in the 8th, 9th round. Could be the overall QB1.
This is a good day. This is a monumental day. And for this monumental day, you need to go and inject that negativity out there of Trey Lance. And I don't understand why.
I'll also throw out Daniel Jones. With Brian Daboll, if that offense takes a step forward, he actually figures it out and limits the turnovers. Just wanted to throw out some late round guys, not just fully the early guys.
So I think Daniel Jones, we'll talk about Daniel Jones, then we'll jump into a draft. I think Daniel Jones is an interesting name to talk about, because I do think he can be a league winner, and like, he can get you like advanced at a high clip. But my question is he a tournament winner?
Yes. I would actually say yes, because he has that type of profile that can produce 30, 35 points in a specific week. He has the rushing upside. He could, theoretically, he could run for 102 touchdowns and then throw for 200 and, another 2. It's not outside of the range of outcomes if they can actually take a step forward. Will it happen? The probability is low, but again, it is in the range of outcomes.
I can see it. I mean, it's like a low probability, but
exactly,
that's the reason why you take those chances, because everyone thinks it's a low probability, right? Exactly. And you don't have to drop Daniel Jones on every single team you're drafting. I don't even know how my Daniel Jones ownership is pretty low, but as everyone knows, I've been taking a stand on quarterbacks, and I've been grabbing 1 or 2 early quarterbacks in most drafts because I'm looking for scaling upside from the position for a specific week.
Yeah.
And that's week 17, week 16, just to advance me to where I need to be. So with all that being said, let's jump into a Best Ball Mania 3 draft because that's fun.
This is my 50th draft.
Ah.
I saved 50 for the stream, and we need 11, so we're gonna need some help here.
Oh man. Well, I guess that gives us a chance to talk a little bit more about some league winners. Anyways, why don't you talk about that, and I will secretly jump onto the Spike Week account and send out a tweet.
Yeah. So, trying to think through, what me and Eric preach is 0 RB. Trying to think of those handcuffs that could be truly tournament winners, guys that, with an injury and the chaotic nature of the position, could take over an RB1 workload. Names that come to mind specifically for me, Keontae Ingram, Darrell Henderson, even Sony Michel in Miami. We know that offense is going to be pretty run heavy with McDaniel jumping over from San Francisco. Anybody kind of later that, will see a significant increase in price, those are going to be your tournament winners. And then for wide receivers, your late round breakout wide receivers, a la Danny Gray, John Mechie, anybody who, can far surpass or even, provide you those potential spike weeks later on. Think about correlations and whatnot. Think about what you can do at the end of draft, who actually can provide additional value. That's what I kind of see as potential tournament winners. It's going to be those off the radar type players that could see their roles really expand in the second half.
Yeah, I can see that with the Houston wide receivers with Mechie. I like Nico Collins. I'm not like going nuts though. I've been really drafting a lot more Chris Evans lately too from
Cincinnati.
the Bengals. Just
Yep.
Not every draft. I started jumping back over to DraftKings just to get some of those drafts in because when the puppy dropped, I hadn't touched DraftKings. Their ADP is really interesting on some players. If you don't draft on DraftKings for like 2 weeks and you've been purely hammering Underdog or drafters or whatever, and you jump back over to DraftKings, you're like, what is going on here? Like stuff just doesn't make sense. And then you have the 20 rounds and you can take Evans in the 20th round. It's like, this feels right. This feels like what I'm supposed to do.
I love Will Fuller in like the 160, 170 range on Underdog. He's going at 200. Pick 200 on DraftKings. Like I can't stop clicking his name in like the 18th, 19th round. Like I'm so excited, or I'm going to go back. So I'm so excited for these tools just because there's no way unless you're importing each individual DraftKings roster into Dubner's tool to figure out what your exposures are. I'm so excited to be able to input those tokens and actually see like what I'm targeting, how I'm targeting. And yeah, it's super exciting.
It's going to be great. That was like my biggest problem last year with DraftKings for sure was I drafted almost 150 for the big tournament. And I didn't, when I started drafting last year, to be completely honest, I wasn't expecting to draft as much as I did. So I wasn't tracking. Yep. And then you get to a point that you just can't track.
I think we got the influencer 101. I think we got the influencer status. You got the glasses on, and they gave us 101.
Yeah, they saw the video last night. Can you zoom in just a little bit?
Oh, that's the wrong screen.
That would be nice. Yeah, so like tracking, I mean, like, because I like the tools you get on Underdog, like in terms of seeing your exposure and stuff. We're just taking it to the next level on Spike Week with our tools. Lundar is asking, is the process pretty easy to upload, signed in OG? Are you talking about in terms of uploading to the Spike Week tools?
I believe he is. I haven't actually used it yet. We're on the clock, but we're taking JT here. So I'm gonna kind of go over. I believe Eric's put in an article actually on Spike Week, kind of explaining how to import everything or upload everything, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. It's not terrible as long as you follow the instructions. It's not like a 30-step process either. It's relatively easy.
Yeah. Lundar, if you're in the Discord, the general channel in the Discord actually has the links to the article that Eric posted. So quick and easy to find right in there. And then obviously if you run into any questions, concerns, just let him know. We're obviously working on it. There's going to be bugs first day of launch.
Right. I mean, that's without saying about like anything. You get a video game and it has to have a day one patch, so like,
absolutely.
The goal is to limit that. So
yeah,
we're hoping it's not too buggy. I mean, I had a massive problem today with a company that's been around for 10 years. Yeah. SoundCloud absolutely dumped my entire podcast stream from my other podcast for 4 hours. Ooh. So they got the boot. Once that came back up, we moved our entire stream over to a different company because I was not happy with the service provided by SoundCloud on that. So,
Yep. Yeah. My other job, we did a podcast that we were kind of doing a live stream for. And they had a customer support issue where they basically just had us on pause. We were like supposed to be live, like we couldn't connect with the audience, and they just left us on pause for like an hour. Wow. And it was like, how are you going to tell us that we're doing a live stream when you can't really go about anything? Right. But yeah, there problems arise all the time. Things that are out of your control.
God, one day I should on one of these channels tell the story of about 2014, 2015. I used to do a live stream for Dirty Water News, which if you're from the Boston area, you're probably familiar with it. Yep. And we would do it from the Greatest Bar in Boston, which is right near the TD Garden. And boy, oh boy, was it a nightmare because the technology just wasn't there yet. And every week we would have massive issues in order to get online. But yeah, I mean, that's so far back, but some of you may be familiar with Mike Zakarian. He was on one of those shows before. I've known Mike for probably closer to 15 years than not. So
you didn't get the invite to the wedding though.
I didn't get the invite to the wedding. I didn't get the best man. So Mike Zakarian, thanks, buddy. I thought we were boys. We were in a home league together. A home league for a lot of years. Damn. Until he moved to another state. Adam Shockley is asking, how can you track your exposure on DK? We are providing that service with the Spike Week premium tools, which is only $25. So go to spikeweek.com.
Underdog.
Yep. All three of the major sites.
If I'm not mistaken, you download your entries and can upload it, and it finds a way to import all of the data. What Hacker is doing is way above my technical expertise, so I'm not going to tell you and sit here and tell you exactly what's going on, but just know that they have it all figured out.
All right, let's talk about our draft for a little bit. We bring up Travis Kelce. He ends up getting drafted a little earlier than normal in the 6th position. Also, I've been seeing Austin Eckler go top 5 a lot lately.
Yep.
I don't fully understand it. I guess I understand it in the aspect of like what he did last year.
Yep.
I just personally don't see him doing that again this year. It sounds like he doesn't want to do that again this year. Yep. So I'm staying away from Eckler around the current price, and I'm certainly not drafting him ahead of ADP. So that's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean the team itself doesn't even really want that. They just drafted Isaiah Spiller. Like they want to use him. They want to keep Eckler fresh. So top 5 is definitely a stretch. I mean, if he scores the touchdowns again, he'll be up there. But it seems like they're kind of reaching for straws there.
Right. So we're about to be on the turn here, and we got Tyreek Hill off the board. All right, we're on the clock. Who are you looking at here? I love AJ Brown.
Always AJ Brown. And then I would be between Fournette, Javonte, and Mike Williams. And I honestly, I could even reach for Pitts.
I was just gonna say, what about Pitts? Because that feels like that would get this a little bit of a different build.
Yeah.
If you went with Pitts here, because I would normally want to go AJ Brown. I would normally want to go Javonte Williams, but I feel like I've done that team two or three times already.
Absolutely.
So it's like, how can we get different without getting crazy? And I feel like grabbing Pitts there isn't
No,
terrible.
definitely not out of the question. I love that Week 17 game anyway. So if we want to grab someone on the Cardinals, we can. And he's not coming back to us, so reaching the 6 spots, is definitely worth it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to make it a point to. I've been saying it since the beginning of the year. If I know they're not coming back to me, I don't mind reaching 6 picks, 12 picks, 14 picks on a guy if I know he's not going to come back.
Absolutely.
So those are, and that's just, as soon as you do something like that too, you're so different than the majority of the teams that started from the 1. We've gone over this before, but the 1 especially is going with that hyper fragile build at like a ridiculous clip.
Yep.
It's Jonathan Taylor, it's Nick Chubb, it's Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
Rotate Javonte Williams in there.
Rotate
Fournette. Like, you're getting 3 of those 5.
Yep.
Now I'm starting to see a lot of guys do the hyper fragile, but push it out to like the 3rd round and the 5th round. So they'll go Javonte, they'll go, J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
And make that the fragile build.
And like, say Jonathan Taylor repeats what he did last year, right? Which is probably low probability, right? He'll probably still be a running back 1 as long as he's healthy. But repeating the RB1, probably a stretch. But say he does, right? How many of those first place teams are going to be the people that actually had pick 1? Like, a lot of them, right? If he repeats what he did last year, like, he's far and away a league winner. If they, if the 2-3 turn isn't absolutely miserable, they'll probably advance. You need to differentiate yourself in the playoff weeks because you're going to be going up against, what we have, 10 teams with JT. All right, you have 17 picks to differentiate yourself, but if you're grabbing the first 3 guys as most of the other people, you're really limiting what's going to help you advance moving on. It just makes sense to kind of change things. And I think at the turn, whether you're at the back end of the draft or the beginning of the draft, you really need to try and get a little bit funky. Take stands and get your guys. Like, if you absolutely love Hollywood Brown and you have pick 1, take him at the 2-3 turn, because I guarantee you it's going to be something that's less than 1% owned.
Right. And that's a guy that people are already a little gun shy on too. Like, they see his ADP and they're like, 4th, I don't know if I want to do that. So they won't take him until he's right at ADP, or if he slides a little bit past. He's not a guy. He's probably like one of those first guys that people are like real scared to reach on. You know what I mean? So
I'm starting to come around on Hollywood. He's back with his college quarterback. Team's going to be good. They're going to throw a lot. NFC West is going to be in some shootouts. So you're going to get those first 6 games, and if they can really build a chemistry before D-Hop comes back, like, who's to say that D-Hop isn't already on his back 9, and Hollywood stays the number 1.
Well, he doesn't even have to be on his back 9, because Hopkins can just be the route runner.
Yeah.
Right. And then Hollywood can catch 3 balls for 120 yards and a touchdown.
True.
And you feel great about it.
Yep.
So,
and
then you just have Hopkins opening up a ton of stuff by running just the normal routes that he runs. He doesn't have to run a go. I mean, Hollywood's going to take a lot of the deep stuff, so.
Well, he does a lot of intermediate stuff too, and over the middle. Like, people think he's just kind of that deep threat, but he was used all over that offense for Baltimore. And if he, drops are not indicative of future results. If he can figure out and catch some footballs, the man's going to absolutely smash.
Yeah, well, let's hope that sentiment holds for Tyreek Hill too, because there's been some.
That one he needs the quarterback. He needs the quarterback to get the ball to him.
Right. All right, we are coming back up on the clock, and right now we have Taylor, AJ Brown, and Kyle Pitts. Ooh, we still got some fun stuff on the board here, but we're 2 picks away, so we don't want to tip our hand.
I was really hoping DK would make it back to us. What are your thoughts? So I've been thinking about this recently. What are your thoughts on DK?
Let's talk about it after our picks.
So, we're grabbing Judy.
Judy's who I was looking at. Where else are you looking here?
I think I prefer Godwin, but I can be talked into McLaurin.
I like Bateman a lot here too. I've been grabbing.
Yeah, I'm definitely Godwin over Bateman.
All right, grab Godwin. So
Judy's first, but
yeah. So we're gonna grab Judy. We're gonna grab Chris Godwin. A guy right here that I've been looking at, and this is more for like hyper fragile builds and stuff, probably for me. And I just kind of like was overlooking him the last month, 2 months, is Cam Akers.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I haven't been taking him, and it's like, well, if he's a 4th round pick, he's actually 1st round equivalent on that. You know what I mean? So like he's getting drafted in the 4th round, but if he's gonna hit his ADP, he's actually gonna hit over it. He's not gonna like be like worth a 6th round at the end of the year based on his performance. So he's either just gonna completely bust or he's gonna be like worth a 1st or 2nd round pick. So my thought process with him right now is maybe I should be working him a little more than I should because I've been overlooking him like completely. Like he hasn't even been on my radar. And then I started thinking about the Rams are going to be one of the top offenses in the league. We've seen Cam Akers take a 3-down roll a hefty amount of the time, a decent amount of the time. And if that's the case, and they're going to be in the red zone an awful lot, they're going to be on the goal line. It's going to go to Cam Akers. Like a decent amount of the time, he's just going to have opportunity after opportunity. And we saw what Darrell Henderson did with healthy last year. Cam Akers theoretically should be better. And maybe we're not looking at Cam Akers enough.
No, I totally understand that. I was pretty heavy on Akers in the big board when his ADP was actually higher. I've been kind of hitting the brake a little bit just on my ownership, and I think it's more because he did suffer an Achilles tear, which you don't typically recover fully. I think part of why his ADP is kind of depressed right now is recency bias. Like he looked terrible in the playoffs. I don't think Cam Akers is that player. Like I think he's a lot better, but there are definite concerns for him fully recovering from injury.
He just feels like a guy, right? We get to the preseason, we see him just absolutely bust off a run. It doesn't even have to be like a home run. It just needs to be a 15 to 20 yard run where he stiff arms a guy, throws a jump cut in there or something, and he's going to rocket ship up the boards. So if you're taking Cam Akers and he's going to perform, this is clearly the time to do it. And I was thinking more how by fragile builds, but he could be some sort of modified 0 RB where you take him as your first RB. Wouldn't be worst case scenario either.
I think my internet went out for a sec.
You're back though, which is great.
Yeah, I'm going to swap over real quick.
And as far as DK Metcalf goes, I don't think that DK is going to be terrible this year. I like him. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. That situation still needs to play out. Is it Drew Lock? Is it Baker Mayfield? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? Yada, yada, yada. And I like Russ better than all those guys, but it's almost like whoever goes there is just going to get the same opportunity that Russ got. So DK's production probably shouldn't fall off a ton. Scoring opportunity might a little bit.
So the way I'm kind of looking at it is like in the 4th round, DK should be an absolute smash. Like I'm going to bet on talent. Like he's talent-wise probably a top 5 wide receiver in the league. Like doesn't matter who his quarterback is. If you have DK Metcalf in single coverage, you're throwing him the football. And if you don't, you probably shouldn't be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Like you're going to give the man his work. This is an interesting part of the board. I absolutely hate it. I would be looking at Russ just for the stack, and I would reach on Ayuk over these wide receivers.
Yeah, why don't you start Russ, and then let's just scroll down a bit with the intention of grabbing Ayuk. So you'd be looking at Gage. Yeah, so for me, it would be Ayuk or Kirk probably would be the two guys I'd be looking at here. I know Kirk's a little down the board, but that's part of the whole he's not coming back. Go ahead and grab Ayuk.
Yep.
But just talking through this,
I would even be
looking
open on this team to taking D-Hop as a bring back to Pitts as our fourth wideout. Hoping he isn't completely trash.
That's not bad. I like that.
Let's do that. Let's see if I can get it in. My clock's all messed up, so it's not actually zeros.
Oh, look at you. You got it. All right, so we grabbed D-Hop. So right now we got Russell Wilson, Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Chris Godwin, D-Hop, Kyle Pitts, which is a pretty stacked team. If Godwin, I mean, this is also one of the if teams.
Yeah.
And it's if Godwin and Hopkins perform well when they're on the field and get back, Godwin more so at a reasonable time, then week 7 on, this team could be really, really dangerous currently.
Oh yeah. And kind of going off that, like we need Godwin to not start the year on PUP, or we want him back, probably week 1, just because of how heavy we're going wide receiver here. Obviously we have that Russ to Jerry Jeudy connection. Judy's also hurt right now. We gotta hope he doesn't suffer any kind of setbacks. So this is definitely a hyper fragile team. We're definitely going hero RB, but there's definitely some question marks. But on paper, if you were to just look at this team, like you think it's absolutely stacked.
Right. Yeah, I think we're going to be looking to push RB unless something ridiculous falls to us, and I don't really know what that could be at the moment. So
I have someone I've been looking at the right around, like, based on where our next picks are. I have someone in mind, just based on the team that they fall on.
Right.
I'll let you get closer.
Do you have a favorite team that I don't know if you've gone back and looked at some of your teams, and my question is going to be before Best Ball Mania. Have you gone back and looked at any of those teams from the big board or the Superflex or anything?
Yes.
Kind of putting you on the spot. So
yeah, I have. I use Dubner's tracker all the way through. So I have all my big board teams in there. I have all my big board Superflex teams in there. I have a couple FFPC teams, the way too early best ball tournaments that I did. I have everything tracked, depending on the format, each in their own individual Excel sheet. So I have gone through and kind of scrolled. I wouldn't say I have like a favorite team, but that's only because I have over 100 teams, right? So I'm just kind of looking through, kind of seeing what teams are already dead. I have a pretty decent amount of Calvin Ridley, so unfortunately those teams are probably going to die. But yeah, I mean, depending on where you drafted, there's a lot of value to be had. Each pocket of the draft, like we'll see with the puppy, we're gonna look back at some of those puppy drafts and be like, how the hell did that happen?
Right.
So yeah, looking through them, there's definitely some unique values. Like I have some Sky Moore 8 in the 20th round shares.
Yeah, he's one of the big ones.
But I can't say I have a specific favorite now.
Yeah, I didn't look through all my teams. I was just kind of scrolling the other night, and some of them kind of made me chuckle. I had one that I actually did a double stack on Jalen Hurts with Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert, and then I'm like, and now I have AJ Green because he wasn't on the Eagles yet. So now I just have the absolute Eagles onslaught.
Love that.
Jake in the chat says he likes the D-Hop grab with Pitts there. It's unique. I agree. I do like that bring back. And so another thing that I hate in this last week is that MVS is getting steamed up this board, and
Yeah.
it is driving me bananas because 10th, 11th round, I was just MVS is all mine every draft. He's my most rostered player at the moment, and it's
I
close to
absolutely
like
love that.
45%.
Well, that's awesome. Because
Like that,
we've been saying it for how long? Like he should smash.
yeah,
Like, as long as he gets on the field and he's healthy, like he's going to catch deep touchdowns.
right,
I don't know how many, but he's going to have at least one that's 75 plus yards.
right. And as he did in this draft, he's starting to flip Sky Moore in the ADPs. So yeah, it makes sense. I mean, that makes sense to me. So we are on the clock in 2 more picks. And Jake is the one who snagged MVS from us. Not that he would have got back to us, but yeah, I am a big proponent on MVS. So who are you looking at here? You were teasing somebody.
So it was Damian Harris. It was Damian Harris just because of the team situation. Like that team's going to run a shit ton. I'm going to say we grab Brady because he's 20 picks past ADP and we have Godwin.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
That just seems like a smash. We're set at quarterback. It's a different type of pairing because how many people are going to have Russ and Brady when they have an ADP of 1 pick apart?
Right.
And then I'm interested to hear what you would like to do at running back. I like Kenneth Walker. I've been getting warm on him because they're going to use him. Like I said about Damian Harris, Kareem Hunt's interesting, and Devin Singletary as well. I'm
a bit bigger on Damian Harris, and then I've been kind of going Singletary after him. But there's a bunch of reasons I like Damian Harris just based on stuff that you just said in terms of the team. And even if he's not on the team at the start of the year, which I don't think is going to happen, but there is that little bit of possibility that he still gets moved. I doubt it happens. But if he does, he's only getting moved to a team that's going to use him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not getting moved to a team that's not going to use him.
Absolutely.
The only caveat to that is whoever the back is that ends up in New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, and so I think with Damian Harris, like most likely a team's going to try to acquire him if they suffer an injury.
Yeah.
Or you have Kareem Hunt who's suspended for more than they expect, right? Right? He would need to be suspended for more than the 4 to 6 games that they're kind of expecting for him.
Kareem Hunt?
What? No, I'm saying for them to trade for Damian Harris.
I'm saying Kareem Hunt's supposed to be suspended?
No. Kamara.
Oh, you said Kareem Hunt. And I was like, really thrown.
Okay. No, that was years ago.
I was like, what did I miss? I was like panicking. No, okay.
Rob, I got a lot on my mind. Things just kind of slipped through. I've been trying to tell you, tease some things. There's a lot going on.
No, I panicked. I should have picked up that it was supposed to be Alvin Kamara. So yeah, I saw that they brought in David Johnson there today too, which who cares, to be honest, at this point. But somebody was saying that this might be tipping the hand that the Saints believe that he might be suspended longer than you expect. And it's like, well, what does David Johnson bring to you at this point in 2022?
He's a camp body. Like,
yeah,
they're bringing a former name just to see what he has left in the tank, and then they're going to be like, well, we gave him no guaranteed money. Peace.
Yeah, that's what the Patriots did with the wide receiver position for 8 years straight. You'd bring in this big name wide receiver that has no gas in the tank left. You'd be like, oh my God, he's going to play with Tom Brady. It's like, no, it's 45-year-old insert wide receiver here. Was it Reggie Wayne one year?
Reggie Wayne a year. Eric Decker.
Ocho Cinco.
Cinco was obviously one.
Yeah. Jake says Jake grabbed Lance. He said, WTF, I didn't want him, but you savages let him fall. We have 2 quarterbacks, sir.
We have 2 quarterbacks, and if we grabbed Ayuk instead of Hopkins, I would have said we grabbed Trey Lance. However, because he would have been unstacked and Brady was 20 picks past ADP, it was a pretty easy decision for me to not take Trey Lance as our QB3.
I love getting the Wilson Brady duo for the quarterback, just for the reason you said. They're usually right next to each other. Unless you're double tapping them at a turn, you're generally not getting them together.
We
So
would have had to take them there. Like, and I thought about it over Hopkins or Ayuk, but I was like, it doesn't really make sense for us. But yeah, we're getting close to 2 rounds of pick value. Like, that's crazy.
right. And there's still option because I like to double stack Brady. There's some options coming up for that as well. Personally, maybe I'm screwing us by saying that out loud, but alas, here we are.
Yeah, I got somebody I'd be. Oh, never mind. He's already been taken. Gronk already been steamed up the draft board. He's usually going in the 120 range. He went at 109.
Yeah, he was actually one of the names I was thinking of as well, but not a big deal. We'll get through our picks and then we'll hit on some stuff that's going on at Spike Week this week. It's like the biggest week at Spike Week that we're gonna have for some time. I mean, not that we're not going to be cruising all summer and crushing it, but this week particularly, there's just a lot going on. It all kind of just worked out organically too. We didn't know the exact day that the tools were going to drop. We scheduled some other stuff for this week, and it all kind of makes sense now. So
yeah, putting our name on the map. I think I'm super excited to work for this company. It's been a lot of fun these last 6 months, but we're really just getting started. So expect us to kind of ramp things up. Tools will really put us on the map and show us or show everybody, we really take this best ball space seriously.
As I wear these sunglasses.
Hey, we don't have to be serious. We just take the space serious.
That's true. All right, so why don't we take a look at who is available right now? See what we're dealing with here. We're good at quarterback.
I did not see Russell Gage go, but I don't see him here, so he's not there. Rojo's interesting as a bring back.
I was just looking at him. I do think we want one wide receiver here at least, though.
Do we want to grab one? No, we don't want to grab one, Dale. Kenny G?
I think Galladay is the play. Okay. I don't love it, but this is funny because this is a pocket after Galladay. Oh yeah, we have the double pick.
Do we want to reach for Rachaad White? Just hope he goes with Brady.
I'd almost rather have Ronald Jones as our Kansas City bring back, to be honest with you.
Yep, I'm completely fine with that. They could run for 2-3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think that makes a little bit more sense to our team. So I think that's where I'd be going here. Now I have lost my complete train of thought about what I was going to say, but that's what happens. Oh, so the stuff we have going on at Spike Week this week, we have obviously our draft tonight. Tomorrow night, I am doing the football show, and we will be drafting another Best Ball Mania team. And I will be doing that with Chris Spags, which is going to be a fun guest to have on.
I love
Spags is always good over with Overzet on Splash Play. So that stream should be a lot of fun. I really enjoy Spags. I think he's got a great sense of humor for the space. A lot of people are missing that here and there, so he's always a good watch. And then we have all of our typical content on Wednesday and Thursday. Eric's going to have his 2 normal streams. And then Friday night, we are doing the Best Ball Royal Rumble, which I think I'm releasing all but one of the names tonight. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Friday night is going to be a lot of fun. That draft where you're going to have people rotating on and off. Some of the names that people know is Overzet's going to be on that. Who else did we announce? Karain.
Leone.
Yep, Leone, who I announced last night, and then Eric didn't tag him in the tweet, which is fine. He still saw it afterwards.
The Banana Boys.
The Banana Boys, Sean and Gretsch. Freeze Frame Karain's going to be on that stream. I think it's pretty star-studded in terms of best ball content creators. So I think we put together a pretty good crew. We try to get a couple surprises that didn't work out, but it is what it is. I have a feeling I see this expanding next year.
It should,
to be honest.
It should. I think it's a great I think it's going to be a great thing. And like you said, we're going to be able to kind of follow up and track it throughout the year. So it's kind of a way for the industry to kind of battle without, Underdog hosting a stream or doing anything like that. I mean, we all talk about Scott Fishbowl. Why don't we do it for best ball?
Right. And what I'd like to see happen is, Eric brought this up, where we have a tag team division where it's you and a friend and a 12-person one. Who are the tag team champions? We do an intercontinental title division. We do a U.S. championship or a TNT title, an IWGP, whatever wrestling company you're into. We start doing these spread out divisions with people from the Discord and just, invite everybody. And that's the long-term vision for it, but it's got to start somewhere. And that start is Friday night in the Best Ball Royal Rumble for the Spike Week Championship with the coolest freaking belt that's ever been given out in a fantasy football draft, the SWO title.
Yep. It's awesome.
My first one of my first acts of officially working for Roto Grinders, which I don't even know if I've announced yet, but hey, I just did, was to buy a championship belt on their dime and to open up this shiny, very expensive belt and to immediately spray paint it.
You did say you did give it to a friend who's a lot better of an artist than you. So it would have been funny if you did it and then you had to buy another one because you messed up.
Listen, when you have friends that do things that very, very well and for a living, you hand it off to them. And
absolutely.
And I have another thing that I think is coming out next week that I had one of my really good friends help me with. And it was a vision that I had that without him, I would not have been able to get it done because he's just so well versed in this space and I am not. And that's about as much as I can tease because anything else gives it away. But yeah, I have plans for the summer, just trying to one up everything that I do the week before in terms of making videos that entertain people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then I throw something.
We are one pick away. I have a couple people I'm interested in. So I would be, if this is me, I would take Rachaad White and Alberto. Take the double stacks. Don't have to worry about a thing. Done it. We're done it. We'd be done at tight end. We'd be done at running back, and we can hammer wide receiver the rest of the way.
Yeah, I don't hate it. The only wide receiver I'd be looking at here is Chark. I like Osborne a lot too, but yeah, I think we have to. The thing is, we have to be done at running back. We have to be done at tight end at this point. And the only counter would be if you wanted to take Chark. We don't have to do it, but there is another wide receiver that we could take for the double stack later.
There is. But I'm open to it. Do you prefer Chark? Because I'm open to swapping it.
I don't know. I'm there's days that I'm real big on Chark and other days where I'm like, he's going to be nothing. So we'll take the Alberto and we'll just see what we can get with wide receiver from here. I mean, our wide receiver, let's go through our team. We have Russell Wilson. We have Tom Brady. We have Jonathan Taylor, Damian Harris, Ronald Jones, Rachaad White, A.J. Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Chris Godwin, D-Hop, Kenny Golladay, Kyle Pitts, Alberto. This is like a really good team with a decent, and a good wide receiver start that now we are going to be doing 4 or 5 rounds of more of wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
So we're allowed to even miss on a couple of these wide receivers that we already took as long as we hit late too.
Yep.
So
one thing is
actually looking really good.
One thing that didn't go through my head that I'm realizing now. So when we took Kenny G as just kind of that dart throw, he actually correlates with JT. JT obviously plays for the Colts. Colts play the Giants week 17. So that honestly, I just like Kenny G as like a bounce back candidate, but wasn't even thinking about it. Natural week 17 correlation. Go us.
Yeah, that works. So I don't hate that either. I didn't think of it myself. I was kind of looking more at that second pick and trying to figure out if Alberto made the most sense. And I have a ton. I think Wilson might be my most rostered quarterback at this moment, just because I love where he's going. And a lot of times he might be my second quarterback based on who I take first. And even if he's my first, I think it's great. Because I still think he's a guy that I can still do a 2 quarterback build with as my first quarterback. So
absolutely. I feel like if you take him, you kind of are like whether you're taking him as your first or your second, like you're staying at 2. Because you're taking him if he's your first, you're taking him to take that upper echelon elite type role, kind of going in that top 6-ish quarterbacks. But then if you're taking him as your second, like you already invested someone in the first 6 rounds because he's a 7th round pick. So you shouldn't be investing any more at quarterback.
Yeah. I think Jake Wells in our chat got Josh Allen and Trey Lance, which is also fun.
He did. And I actually looked through his team quick. It's actually pretty nicely correlated. But like the Ship Chasers, we don't talk about other teams here.
We'll save it for the end of the draft. Maybe we'll gander. Going back to the Russell Wilson point, he's like we've been talking about, he's right around Tom Brady. And Russell Wilson is a 2 QB build for me. And when I do Brady as my first quarterback, which has not been often, I'm doing a 3 quarterback build around Brady.
Interesting.
And I know you're still investing a lot of capital into Brady to get him where you're getting him. But when I say I'm doing a 3 quarterback build, my last 2 are late in the draft. So I'm doing that type of build. And the only way that I would be, stepping up a little bit is for Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
Just
are you adding like one of those upside rookies in the 18th round in those 3 QB builds? Or are you grabbing like the Mac Joneses and Zach Wilsons of the world?
Yeah, it's more so those guys. It's just me looking at it like I'll just take 3 statues.
Yeah.
Like if I'm grabbing Brady, I love Brady. He's got high upside. He can put up a 30, 33 point game.
Yeah.
But to be honest, if I just look at it, I guess I'm looking at archetypes. And once I get a statue, I think I need 3 of them if I don't have a guy with rushing upside. Is just kind of my thought process. No matter who the first quarterback is. So we are going to be coming back up on the clock. And
I had sent the chat about Robbie Anderson because I had seen he hadn't been picked, but he did not make it back to us.
Yeah.
Even though he might retire. What do you take about this potential retirement for Robbie Anderson?
Well, I kind of joked about
it.
Yeah. I kind of joked about it on Twitter, but I don't think like I'm way off on the fact that I think he got some news about who his quarterback's going to be or what the team's looking to do. And he wasn't happy with it. I don't know if you remember at the beginning of the year, but he didn't want Baker Mayfield to come to Carolina.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the rumor right now.
Or is he just like, I'm sick and tired of Sam Darnold. I've been with him my whole career. I don't want this man as my quarterback anymore. And he knows they're not making a move.
Right. It could be that as well. And that's my point of like, instead of saying that Baker's going there, is that he got news about who his quarterback is going to be.
Yeah.
So, and whatever the situation is, he's not, or maybe he heard both and he's just like, both of those options suck and I don't like it.
So yeah, we're done at quarterback. We're done at tight end. We're probably done at running back. Corey Davis is interesting just because he passed ADP. I like Pickens here as well, just as a potential breakout in the second half. And then Will Fuller would be my number 3 here.
I like Pickens for the upside, which is what I think we should be targeting for our wideouts. And I like Fuller for the upside.
Okay.
So the only other guy is if we wanted to completely onslaught Denver. And I don't think there's a need to do it.
I don't think there is either.
To be perfectly honest. But some of these other names in this area are fine. There's a guy that I hope gets back to us. We'll see. We'll talk about that later.
Yep.
Yeah. So, do you think this team is stacking is coming out nicely? Got 3 more picks, right?
I can't wait for Will Fuller to sign with the Chiefs. And,
That's what I wanted to bring up earlier. When are some of these guys going to sign? Like,
so
are they
I
just trying to avoid
July.
camp?
I think it'll be July. They're going to wait until after mandatory minicamp, and they're going to start. They'll probably sign right before training camp.
Yeah.
There's no reason for them to be at minicamp right now. I mean, other than them learning the playbook. But like we know Odell can play. He doesn't need to be at minicamp. We know Will Fuller can play. He doesn't really need to be at minicamp. Julio, you don't want him at minicamp because he might hurt himself.
Yeah.
So, like, there's just no reason for these vets to really sign and go through nothingness in June. They could just be, living it up at the beach.
That's fair. And with Odell, he can't practice anyways because he's injured.
Exactly.
So, so he could sign whenever. And that's what I was trying to bring up a couple weeks ago. Is like, you might not see Odell sign for a while because there's no need for him to. You could just have like a little handshake behind the door there, and with the Rams or whoever he ends up with, which I thought was no chance. And now the more I think about it, clearly the salary cap doesn't matter to them somehow, and they just make things happen. So,
well, and I mean, how he's made money in his career, like he really doesn't need it. Like he literally has the luxury to just go ring shopping and be like, this is the best chance and best opportunity for me. Like he knows at any point he could get a big contract if he's healthy. Like, why not go back to the Rams, be a part of him, Cooper Kupp, and Allen Robinson, and battle for another championship. Like, try and win a second Super Bowl. Show that you're fully healthy, and then get the next big contract next year.
God, that team does sound deadly. We might be. I know their like draft positions are high, so we're not really underselling the Rams.
I mean, they don't draft; they trade their draft picks.
Right. Well, I'm talking about like their ADPs for their players.
Oh yes, yeah.
Like their ADPs are high, and so we're not really underestimating the Rams. It's just hard to get them because Cooper Kupp is 2 or 3 depending on what day you're drafting, and then Allen Robinson is what, 4th round pick?
Remember when he was going in the 90s?
Yeah,
awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, but you can still get some of these Rams, like, because if, like we were talking about with Akers earlier, if he's a player, then he's a good value right now.
Yeah,
and I like Tyler Higbee as a tight end.
Oh yeah, like me too.
I've been smashing Higbee. He's been my Ram for a lot of my teams just to get a Ram exposure to a Ram, and it's so late in the draft. He's usually second or part of a 3 tight end build, which is more than fine.
The hard part with the Rams is just, if you do grab a bunch of Rams, like you probably need a Charger coming back because that game is most likely going to be a shootout, and the Chargers prices are just hard. So
yeah, Chargers are real hard.
Getting a bring back outside of, Gerald Everett is like really freaking hard. Even like Palmer goes a little bit earlier than he really should. So you can grab that Rams onslaught, but someone's gonna go heavy Rams Chargers to start, and then you're screwed. So they're an interesting team because they might just be one of the best offenses in the league. But correlate, you're probably going to want that differentiating secondary stack to really, increase your first place probability, for lack of better words.
Brian Edwards in the 15th. I'm just kind of looking at this team.
Mac went before Deshaun, Matt Ryan, Tannehill, Mills. I think he went before Zach Wilson. I don't think Zach Wilson's been drafted.
Let's look at that team at the end of the draft, because I think last time we drafted together, we had a real weird team that got drafted.
Yeah.
And we were looking at it, we're like, what's going on? I can't believe Bourne went after. Bourne was the guy I was hoping got back to us, and he goes after us. Like one pick after us.
I'm not mistaken. I'm taking John Mechie here.
Yeah,
like he's a steal here. And then this is not someone I'm advocating for, but Julio kind of makes sense because he's going to sign, he's going to be healthy, and he's a body for us earlier in the year.
I don't get the Julio hate at the 17th, 18th round. Like,
I don't think he's going to be healthy later on, so he's not going to help you at the end of the year. So I'd rather take a stab on someone who's going to break out in the second half. However, with this team, since we have Godwin and D-Hop who might not play, and then you have Pickens and Mechie, who's both, Pickens might not be on the field and Mechie might be injured and start on PUP. We need bodies to start the year to actually stay intact. So I think Julio actually makes sense here. Yeah, but for most of my builds, I'm staying away from Julio as there's other people I prefer. I'd rather take a stab on Visca. I'd rather take a stab on Romeo Dukes, Wan'Dale Robinson, just for that second half breakout where, they're Amon-Ra, right? They're posting 20-plus point weeks. And Julio in the second half, you're getting, a 40, 50% snap share player because he's hurt. He's fighting through injury.
I mean, if that's what he is, my thing is like of all the guys in that back end that can get you close to 1,000 with 8 or 9 touchdowns, it's him.
Yeah.
If he just now again, it's a big
very
shot
low
in the
probability.
dark. it's a shot in the dark, but for me, it's usually he's my 8th or 9th wide receiver, and I'm fine. It's not like we're drafting him in the 9th, and it goes to the point that I keep making is it doesn't matter what team he signs with.
Yeah.
Once he signs, his ADP is going up.
Yeah.
He could sign with Cleveland. He's not going to, but he could sign with Cleveland.
Yeah.
Which is like a very bad situation right now to be a wide receiver, in my opinion. And he's going to jump up at least 2 to 3 to 4 rounds just based on the fact that he's signed with the team.
Yeah.
So I'm grabbing Julio now with the knowledge that once he does sign with the team, I'm probably not taking him again the rest of the offseason.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
That's kind of the way I look at the Julio situation.
Yeah. I think, like I said, it kind of goes towards builds. Like, I'm building specific rosters where Julio makes absolutely no sense for me. Like, I'm loading up on 4 or 5 wide receivers in the first 6, 7 rounds. Mm-hmm. Julio adds nothing to me. This particular team, we did that, but we grabbed guys that their prices deflated because Hopkins is suspended for 6 weeks. Godwin might not be healthy to start the year. Like, that's the only reason why I'm okay with drafting Julio, because we know Julio to start the year will probably be on the field.
This guy goes Cedric Wilson. I'm just intrigued by this.
He had Byron Pringle in the 16th is interesting too. Like,
yeah,
Byron Pringle's usually available at the last pick.
I am intrigued to look at this entire team. So let's go through our roster right now because we can just add our last pick onto it as we grab them. So our roster right now is Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Jonathan Taylor, Damian Harris, Ronald Jones, Rashad White. Wide receiver, we have A.J. Brown, Judy, Godwin, Hopkins, Galladay, Pickens, Fuller, Mechie, Julio. And then tight end is Kyle Pitts and Albert O, which is – I like this team.
This team is awesome.
A lot.
This team is awesome. And you know what's going to end up happening? We're going to look back at this in like November and be like, what the hell were we thinking?
Yeah. It's just – I had a team like that last year. I looked at it and I was like, this is the best team I have. And I think it was dead. 5 weeks in, I can't remember the team offhand, but I'm like – and then you look at some of your teams that advance, you're like, how the hell did this team even get through?
Well,
who scored points on this team?
I did the first year of Best Ball Mania, right? When Underdog was first thing. I had a team that made it to the semis and almost made it to the finals. And I look back at it and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? I drafted 4 wide receivers. One of them was Odell, who tore his ACL in week 6. I had 3 wide receivers through the semis. And the team made me crazy money. I was like, how the hell did this happen? It had like 9 running backs.
That is silly. It's very silly.
It just shows like how crazy this game and how like crazy a variance like truly is. You only need to get so little right, but it's so hard to thread that needle.
Yes. Jake was wondering if Danny Dimes was going to go undrafted, but he did get drafted.
And that's his second quarterback. That's awesome for the Bears.
Yeah. We are on the clock. Yeah.
Did I see him get drafted? No, I'm going to say Terrence Marshall Jr. Just in case.
Just for the bring back.
For the bring back to our Bucks, and I still think Terrence Marshall Jr. is good. He was good in college. Let's just hope the coaching staff was the reason why he sucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good team.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. We went over it. We grabbed Terrace Marshall to end it. Can we go back and look at that team after you name it? The crazy one. And then if anyone wants us to critique their team in the chat, we will do that as well. And then we're going to get out of here to watch the Celtics. And everyone in the chat, it is your obligation to root for the Celtics. I will say that right now, as somebody that lives in New England. And as much as I hate Boston, you are not allowed to hate Boston. I hate the city, not the teams.
All right, it's right here. All right, so the team that went crazy started Devontae, Mark Andrews, Nick Chubb. Started pretty well. Zeke, Juju, Gibson, Hawkinson, Stafford, Carr, Penny, Pierce, Njoku, Mack, Brian Edwards, Byron Pringle, Cedric Wilson, Kenny Pickett. So it sounded like he actually started really well.
Yeah, and then it just fell off the freaking rails.
In probably the 14th round, he was like, oh shit, I gotta go, and just queued up a bunch of players.
Well, even before that, because if you scroll back, his team starts pretty heavy at running back, right? He's got Chubb, he's got Zeke, he's got Gibson.
Zeke. I'm gonna go to a different view.
All right.
We're gonna do this, and then
there you go.
Yeah. It was this team, right? Yeah. So we went 4-5-6-3. So we started Chubb, Zeke, Gibson, right? And Chubb was the only one that was like a decent value. Then he adds Penny and Pierce.
Yeah.
Which he already grabbed 3. Like I don't know why he's grabbing Pierce, especially that early.
Yeah.
His wide receiver 3 is Alec.
Yeah.
Then he grabs 18th round picks early. Grabs 3 tight ends, 2 of them pretty early in Andrews and Hawkinson, and then 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah, this is wild.
All of them ahead of ADP.
That's another wild team. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. Let's Matt in the chat says he was next to us at the 2 spot. Let's take a look at his team. We'll look at Jake's team, and then we'll get out of here.
So Herbert, Trubisky, a little light at quarterback, hoping Trubisky takes the job. CMC, Akers, we were talking about Akers, love that pick. Kareem Hunt, also a good pick. Naheem Hines, and I love Gus Edwards at his price. I've
been grabbing a lot more Gus Edwards lately.
Tyreek, Mike Williams with Herbert, Elijah Moore, Russ Gage, he went really early. Would definitely let him fall a little bit. You are reaching, and he's not full of a stack, so kind of a weird spot for him. Claypool.
But just to counter that, if that's his guy, we were talking about that, he wasn't coming back to him.
That's true.
It wasn't going to come back to him. So if Gage is who he wants, then by all means, I'm fine.
Claypool, Rondale, he took Bourne again ahead of ADP. End of the draft, ADP doesn't really matter. I love James Washington over Tolbert. I think James Washington's going to play. I think he should have played in Pittsburgh. Juwan Jennings. Does he? He does have Claypool and Freiermuth. If I was this team, I would try to be looking a little bit more towards correlation. I guess he does have Akers as a bring back. And then who's Pittsburgh play? Pittsburgh plays Baltimore. I guess Gus Edwards as that last pick. I mean, it's an all right team. I think the wide receiver core is a little shaky, specifically for me. Like I think there are a lot of boom bust guys. So you kind of need those to be overlapping. Tight ends, fine. Quarterback, I prefer someone over Trubisky, but that's just me.
I'm kind of fine with this team. The only thing that I would have really done differently is that last pick, that Jawan Jennings pick. I would have either, I don't know who was left at quarterback at the time. I might have grabbed a third since it's my last pick. If I was betting on Trubisky as my second.
I've been adding Corral in the 18th round as like, and he has CMC, so you have the dump off correlation there as well. Yeah. But yeah, Jawan Jennings isn't adding anything to this team.
Yeah. He's not even my favorite 18th round San Francisco 49er. And the name is escaping me.
Danny Gray.
Danny Gray. That's who I'm grabbing as my 49er in the 18th round. But I like the team overall. I think that he could have shored up his quarterback spot with that Jennings pick.
Yeah. And Danny Dimes fell way past ADP. Like, why are you reaching on Trubisky when Danny Dimes is on the board?
Well, it's because he double stacked Pittsburgh, right? So that's his whole. It's just taking a massive bet.
He might not start.
Right. Well, I agree. He's taking a massive bet. He's taking that bet that Trubisky's going to be the quarterback for the season. So, like, if you're going to draft them, and
I don't love it. I don't love reaching for it though. Like, let it fall to you, and you take it in the 18th round when Trubisky's still there.
All right, let's go over Jake Wells' team real quick, and then let's get out of here. I think it's Snake Wells, if I remember correctly. All right, where did he draft out of? What spot?
He's the 8th spot.
All right, so
2, 6, and 3. So it's definitely an intriguing build. Looks like he went 0 RB with both Allen Lance, Sanders, Singletary, Spiller, Carter, Price, which matches are in both his running backs correlate, and James Robinson late. I like the running back core as a 0 RB build. Some of them can definitely increase their workloads. Definitely a good mix there. Chase, Debo, Gabe Davis.
Wait a minute. He got Jamar Chase 8th?
Yeah.
What the hell happened in this draft?
Let's look real quick, because I didn't see that. I did see Derrick Henry at 12, which I think was interesting. So CMC, Jefferson, Eckler, Kelsey, and then Diggs. So someone went Diggs over Chase, which is crazy.
I'm going to be doing Diggs over Chase, but I'm going to be doing it much earlier. Like, I'm not going to be doing it in that spot. I'm going to be doing it in like the 2-hole.
Yeah, you're going to get different if you have Chase at 7.
Yeah, wow. I mean, like, I guess you win just by default because you get Chase at the 8th overall pick. So that's phenomenal. So he gets Chase, Debo, Gabe Davis, Darnell Mooney, Amon-Ra. He gets MVS. He gets Khalil Shakur at the end to pair with Josh Allen.
Yeah,
Henry Fant Ingram is a great 3-man tight end. It's a real team. Solid team. I don't know. I just got blown away that Jamar Chase went 8th overall. I'm so jealous.
This team is really nice. The one thing I'll say is he already has. So I know Buffalo probably will score a shit ton of points, and Khalil Shakur is probably a decent pick. Mm-hmm. I would probably grab someone from Vegas with my 18th pick over Shakur, and just you're kind of reaching there in terms of what he can be. You don't need Shakur to go off with you already having Singletary and Gabe Davis. Like, you're already kind of investing in the offense, so might as well get a bring back of who's there was it Tyron Johnson or Demarcus Robinson, like someone who can catch that deep pass just to bring back your San Francisco guys. Like you took the bet on Debo, you took the bet on Lance. Just someone that can kind of add something. Like, I don't see Shakur being the guy that's adding 25 to 30 points in a week. He's just not that type of player. Like, he's more consistent. And if he's playing, like, Gabe Davis is probably not playing.
I think if we're going to get that nitpicky on it, the way I would have done it, and he got James Robinson at a really good value in terms of where he normally goes, is I probably would have grabbed a wide receiver there, and I would have grabbed Zamir White late. Is just the way I would have done it.
Nope, that's fair.
So, I mean, if we're really looking, but that But again, you have a 30-second shot clock and you're trying to
Yeah.
think of these things. So this is very much, 2020 hindsight on our part.
Yeah.
Is the way I would say. Overall, it's a fine team.
Yeah. No, the team,
looks like Stevie was in the draft with us, so glad you were here as well. But we cannot do any more teams. We got to start watching some basketball. So, anyways, thanks everybody for joining us. We will be doing more drafts all week. It's going to be a fun week. Join me and Chris Baggs tomorrow. Until then, peace.